The mortgage market in America just collapsed and home buyers are dropping out of the market like flies. This is ultimately a sign that the 2022 housing crash has already started, particularly in certain parts of America that are most exposed. And the key evidence of this mortgage market collapse is in data collected by the Mortgage Bankers Association. They track the number of mortgage purchase applications each week in America, aka someone going to buy a home and submitting an application for a loan to buy that home. And what this data shows is that the index level for mortgage purchase applications of 235 at the end of April is now below the long-term average of 264 over the last 5 years and is down 17% from where it was just 1 year ago. This absolute crash in mortgage purchase demand in America is a big problem because roughly 80% of all the homes sold in America, both existing and new, are financed with a mortgage. And looking back historically, you can see a very tight relationship between mortgage applications, the blue line, and home sales in America, the yellow line. They move almost in lockstep with each other, with the key difference being this. The mortgage application data is a leading indicator. You can see, for instance, in December 2021, it started going down through the spring and winter before home sales in America started going down. And pretty much at every point in time, you can see that mortgage applications go up before home sales go up, and they go down before home sales go down. And so to be very clear, this collapse in mortgage applications in the mortgage market is not only signifying weakness in home buyer demand showing up today, it's predicting that in the next 1 to 2 months, in May and June, we're going to see fewer buyers and fewer home sales. And of course, if we have fewer buyers, that means that inventory on the housing market's going to go up and that home prices are going to go down. But the really important thing for you all to remember is that this effect is not going to be evenly distributed across America. Certain cities are much closer to a housing crash, are much closer to having severe problems in their housing market than others. This map shows the 100 largest metro areas in America on the basis of how much inventory has either increased or decreased through late April year over year. And what I want you to pay special attention to is the color coding on this map. The metros in red have seen already an increase in inventory year over year, not even taking into account the decline in mortgage applications occurring. So over the next month or two, as this decline in mortgage applications really starts to hit the home sales in these markets, we're going to see inventory go up even more and a full-scale housing crash develop. And you can see, particularly in a place like Salt Lake City, what's going on. Inventory through late April is now up 30% year over year, whereas it was way down in 2020, 2021. In Salt Lake, you can see the inventory is already surging, and it's going to continue to surge over the next several months. Same in Spokane, Washington, everyone. Take a look at this, folks. We had the massive decline in listings in Spokane in 2021, and now over the last several months we've seen an increase, and then boom, a big increase in new listings in late April in Spokane. What about Phoenix, Arizona, everyone? This was one of the hottest housing markets in America. In Phoenix, you could see a huge collapse in inventory in 2021 in the spring, but now inventory is up 20% year over year in Phoenix. And then, whoa boy, Austin, Texas is beginning to see a massive inventory spike, up 41% year over year in Austin. And I'm going to get to some more cities later in this video so you can understand how the inventory is trending in your market and how close your housing market is to a crash. But first, I want to explain truly what's going on here in terms of inventory and why we're seeing this increase. One side of the equation is home buyer demand, which is proxied by the mortgage application data I referred to earlier, and the fact that we're seeing fewer home buyers naturally means that inventory is going to go up. But there's another side to this equation, and that's new listings coming to the market. We're seeing right now a lot of sellers, would-be sellers, getting panicked, and a lot of sellers are saying to themselves, I need to list my home now before the crash comes. For instance, data from Redfin shows a massive 55% year-over-year increase in new listings in the Boise, Idaho housing market, as well as a massive 120% increase in listings year-over-year in Nashville, and a 70% increase in new listings, new sellers coming to the market in Provo, Utah. And so it's really this double whammy, the increased listings and the panicked sellers coming to the market, combined with the decline in demand in mortgage applications I talked about before. It's this double double whammy that's going to doom the US housing market in 2022 and create a crash. Because ultimately, the metrics in today's market just make no sense. Home prices are at their highest level ever adjusted for inflation. Meanwhile, the cost to buy a home is ballooned by 40% over the last year, according to data from Redfin. Meanwhile, the average worker's wages in America have only gone up by about 5.5% in the same period. Clearly, this was never a sustainable situation because ultimately, over the long run in America, the value of a home over the last 100 years has been primarily a function of inflation in wages. And so if home prices go way above inflation in wages, like they've done in 2021 and 2022, and like they did in 2006, they're going to come crashing down. Particularly, as I said before, in those areas on the western half of America where home prices are already very expensive and where there's a big exposure to tech. You can see that the number of listings with a price cut, data from Realtor.com, has skyrocketed in markets like Stockton, Austin, Boise, Sacramento, San Antonio, Riverside, Las Vegas, Denver, where there's nearly 2 times as many listings on the market with a price cut today as there was a year ago. And if you're someone who recently purchased a home or is looking to buy a home in one of these tech-driven markets like in Austin or Boise or Denver or Seattle or Salt Lake, you need to be very careful because this is where, in my opinion, the crash is going to be worst. Because not only is the housing market already showing signs of softening in these areas, the economies in these cities is showing big signs of a slowdown. I talked about the tech stock crash earlier this week in a video and how this is going to have a brutal impact on these local economies. You're already seeing the stock price of tech companies like Amazon and Facebook and Netflix collapse. Now you're seeing the layoffs roll in. Netflix just laid off a lot of employees. Robinhood just laid off 10% of their workforce, and these layoffs are going to continue, and they are going to disproportionately negatively impact tech-driven housing markets. Meanwhile, I think a lot of cities in the middle of America, in the Midwest, Northeast, and Deep South are going to be largely protected from a brutal housing crash in 2022. That's because they're not as exposed to the technology sector in terms of housing demand, and as a result, we're seeing that their housing markets still have very low inventory and very low price cuts. We talked about before how price cuts are way up in Austin or way up in a Riverside or way up in a Sacramento, but price cuts are actually down year over year in Toledo, Ohio, or Albany, New York, or Portland, Maine, or Richmond, Virginia, or Birmingham, Alabama, or Indianapolis. These kind of slow and steady markets throughout the Midwest, Northeast, and Deep South have fewer listings with a price cut today and are thus further away from experiencing a housing crash. Now, before signing off, I think there's a burning question on a lot of your minds that I want to answer, and it's this. You're probably saying to yourself, all right, Nick, I see the data on inventory and new listings and price cuts, but a lot of you are wondering, when is it safe for me, if I'm a home buyer or investor, to buy a house? And this is a great question, and to answer it, I want to walk you through the stages of a housing crash. We're currently in stage 1 of the housing crash, where kind of the mainstream narrative has shifted, inventory is going up, and price cuts are going up. That's phase 1, where if you're someone who's like really desperate to buy a home, you have a kid, either there or on the way, and you need a house, maybe you take advantage and buy in phase 1 of the crash. However, shortly we're going to shift to phase 2 over the next year, which is going to be kind of substantial and long-run home value declines. And so you could buy at stage 1, but if you do, you're likely going to lose value on your home over the next several years, because historically it takes a couple years of home price declines before we see a housing market bottom. And then there's stage 3 of the housing crash, which is, the price declines really start to moderate. This is happening maybe 3-4 years into the crash, and all of a sudden it looks like some growth might be occurring. And you got to figure out what stage is right for you to buy in, and basically how desperate you are to buy a home and how committed you are to staying in that home. Because I think, you could buy in the next 6 months and maybe find a good deal or two, but it's still likely that the value of your home is going to decline into the future if you buy in the next 6 months. And some people might not care about that, right? If you find a home that you like in the next 3 to 6 months because of increased inventory and a nice price cut, you might lock that in and say, I don't care if in the next 2 years it goes down by another 10% because I'm going to stay here. On the other end of the spectrum, if you're someone who's kind of acting out of FOMO, who just really wants to make a quick purchase and you don't maybe plan on staying in the home for more than 2 or 3 years, now could be a very dangerous time to buy, because you might jump at a price cut or more inventory on the market, but if you have to sell in another 2 to 3 years, you're likely going to be selling at a loss from what you buy it for today. And of course, as I said earlier in this video, there's a big regional component here. I think it's much safer to buy in general in the Midwest of America, in the Deep South. These markets might get a correction over the next couple of years, but they're unlikely to get a crash, whereas any area in red on this map, I have severe concerns about values going down 10, 20, even 30% in some of these areas in red. If you guys enjoyed the data in this video, particularly if you're someone who's stuck with me on this channel over the last 3, 6, and 9 months when I was talking about this housing crash before anyone else, please make sure to smash the like button of this video, show your support for the channel. Also make sure to leave a comment, let me know what you're seeing in your market as far as inventory and price cuts goes. You guys are often my best on the ground insight into what's going on in the market, so please leave a comment, and also make sure you're a subscriber. Hit that subscribe button because I got even more of this data and content coming in future weeks and months as the housing market turns. Make sure those subscribe notifications are turned on.